You're listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3, recapping the night that was in the world of sports.
A little bit later on tonight, we'll have the Astros and the Diamondbacks. That'll be at 8. And then the Rangers playing at Seattle tonight.
And also bringing some humor to your day.
Was it pretty big?
Yeah, I mean,
it's impressive.
Yeah.
Was it fascinating?
I thought it was fascinating. It kind of smelled, but I mean.
Hear the show live weekday mornings at 6 on Double T 97.3 or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
One of the things that I found out yesterday at the media event for Texas Tech football, and I know that this is just you were just sitting on the edge of your seat wondering about this, but I thought it was, I think it's cool to know. I now know where Patrick Mahomes' name's going to be on the side of the stadium.
Okay, cool. Okay?
It's going to be on the same level as the other names, and he'll be next to Elmer Tarbox.
Okay.
Okay? So when you go to the stadium on Saturday, you'll probably see some kind of blanket or something over that, and behind the blanket will be Patrick Mahomes II, I'm presuming. Okay, presuming that's how they'll do that. Maybe they'll just put Patrick Mahomes in his number. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure what the exact layout is going to be, but I'm certain it'll be Patrick, right?
I would guess so.
Yeah, I'm certain it'll be Patrick. I'm certain they go ahead and spend the extra money for the RICK. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah, I get it.
The other. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
You're done?
You're good.
The other thing that surprised me last night with no fanfare whatsoever, not that, I mean, and you're gonna go, well, he's just an announcer, but I was just really, really surprised that that CBS had to confirm something that was first reported by the New York Post, that Jim Nance will call his last NCAA men's basketball Final Four this coming year. Mm-hmm. He has been involved in the broadcast of the men's basketball tournament since 1986. Nance is 63 years old. And the guy that he's being replaced by is like, okay, it does nothing for me. Not that people tune in to hear announcers.
I didn't ask you?
No, I'm shocked by that. Ian Eagle, who I didn't even know he was considered their number 2 NFL guy. But Ian Eagle, who's 53, 10 years younger than Nance, and who is more of an NBA guy because he does the Brooklyn Nets games and then kind of, dips his toe in the NCAA basketball tournament. And then also as part of Turner's NBA package, he'll be the new voice of the Final Four.
Good for him.
So Nance replaced Brent Musburger, who was fired in 1990. And I still don't know why or who Musburger spilled a drink on. And he was a guy that wasn't afraid to flap his jaws and probably ruffled, the wrong suits in the background. But, he was highly popular. And when they fired him on April the 1st, 1990, it was thought to be an April Fool's joke because it came on the eve of the national championship game. He went on to broadcast the national championship game because it happened over the weekend. In 1990, and then Nance took over. But maybe Nance, maybe they're saying to him, "Hey, look, man, we got all these different things that that you're the head of. He's the lead guy on the NFL, he's the lead guy on their golf coverage, and we've got all these other guys that want a piece of the action." And also, maybe Nance said, I got to spend some more time at home because he has a young family. He's on wife number 2, and they have young children, and I think his kids are under 10. Maybe even under 9. So probably coming of an age where wants to see their weekend activities. And when you're doing the NFL, 20 some odd weeks out of the year, and you're doing golf another 20 some odd weeks out of the year, it doesn't leave very much time.
Yeah, it seems like at a certain point you probably got enough money there with all those gigs that you could spend some time at the house.
Yeah, it just kind of surprised me that he'd give up the Final Four. But I mean, I don't know him, and maybe he was just like, just tired of doing this, and time for somebody else to do it. And I gotta pace myself.
Yeah, the interesting thing isn't that of all the things that you mentioned, that's probably the one that's not taking up the most time.
Yeah, I mean, the college basketball season, right, is the kind of a relatively short window there from, the end of the NFL to, basically the first weekend in April, so it's not like it's, this huge window, but maybe that's what they said to him is like, hey, this is what we need you to give this up. But I'm just surprised they didn't go after one of the ESPN guys or one of the more touted voices of college basketball than Ian Eagle. Seems kind of nondescript to me. But
maybe they're just big on promoting from within.
Maybe so.
Maybe you don't need to be descript. You just need to be good at your job.
Maybe so. I'm underwhelmed. Okay.
Well, duly noted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tech Talk said yesterday his kids are 6 and 8. Yeah. 6 and 8 is probably, I didn't look it up this morning, but I knew they were extremely young comparatively for a guy that's 63. There's not many 63-year-olds out there that have a 6 or an 8-year-old.
Probably not.
As primary children.
Yeah.
Grandchildren, yeah. Primary children, not so much. Maybe Mrs. Nance.
Primary children?
Well, I mean, your children, as opposed to your grandchildren.
Okay.
I actually understood that, and that scares me, Jamie.
Yeah. Primary children.
Well, because he's got an adult daughter.
Secondary children.
He's got an adult daughter who's now no longer in need of his
my secondary family.
Constant supervision. But, the 6 and the 8-year-old, maybe Giselle and Mrs. Nance had a conversation, and Mr. Nance got a earful from Mrs. Nance going, Giselle and I have been talking. We had cocktails together. You want to be like Mr. Brady, or do you want to be at home a little bit more, buddy boy? Would be my immediate reaction to that. So good for him. I hate it though. I mean, I liked him. Hey, here's somebody else, Jamie, that caught my eye yesterday with a little news flash.
I hope he was more descript.
She. Serena Williams says she's not retired. Chances of a return are very high. She said, the chances of me returning are very high. You can come to my house and see I have a court. Okay. She received a heartfelt send-off following her loss in the third round of the U.S. Open. But she was attending the TechCrunch Disrupt event to promote her investment company, Serena Ventures. She stated she didn't even think about the whole retirement when she made the announcement back in August. I started this company a while ago, so I just jumped right into that. I didn't think about the whole retirement. I still really haven't thought about it. But I did go on the court the other day and realized for the first time in my life that I'm not playing for a competition. And that felt weird. It was like the first day of the rest of my life, and so far I'm enjoying it. But I'm still trying to find that balance. I've never liked the word retirement.
Go back to the very beginning of that, where she says, you can come in my house and see the court.
Yeah.
Jamie, that sounds like an invite to me.
Yeah.
No, thanks.
Yeah, go over there and bat the ball around with Serena.
I'll pass.
Give her a little bit of that.
He doesn't need to lose to Serena. He knows he would.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's no question.
And a lot of men would. I'm not just picking on Jamie here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confused.
What are you confused about?
I mean, what do you mean? I didn't really think about the whole retirement thing.
Well,
when you announced that you were retiring?
Yeah, right. Maybe she said, I've decided to quit, and then she started really thinking about it, going, oh my God, what have I done? I don't know. It seems very weird.
The U.S. Open last year was such a beatdown because it was not the U.S. Open. It was Serena's send-off.
Yeah.
And I just wanted it to be about not just one player.
Mm-hmm.
And the coverage, not really Serena's fault, but the coverage made it all about Serena. And it was not fun. And so I'm just confused. Like, they did everything they could and gave her the right kind of send-off because she's one of the greatest players
rolled out
in the
red
history of
carpet.
the game. Yeah.
Now she's doing a Brett Favre.
It's like
George Foreman.
What? It just kind of seems like I want to still be in the spotlight and keep people talking about me.
Realize that the light's not on me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you don't care about me anymore because I'm retired. Oh, I'm not retired. Chances of me returning are very high.
That's odd.
It is. It is.
I mean,
odd.
it's only been what, 2 months?
Yeah, right. It's not.
Coming out of retirement after 2 months. Jeez.
I'm feeling better.
Yeah. Fun.
Getting your sports day started the right way. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, breaking down the biggest games.
If Texas Tech does not win the Big 12 football conference, who are you rooting for to win the conference if Tech does not win it this year?
Well, busting some chops along the way.
I hold back on sending you stuff. I mean, I'm very, very, very judicious.
We spend 3 hours a day, 5 days a week
I know.
together. Why would
Yeah.
we need to communicate during the weekends?
Right, we
Save
don't.
it for the show.
We do. We save it for the show.
Tune into the Morning Drive live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
Today is the 25th day of October. We'll have our secret word coming up shortly. But first, this day in sports history with Jeff McGuire.
1905 is where we will start today because it was the very first college football Crab Bowl Classic.
Crab Bowl.
Where Navy beats Maryland 17-0 in Annapolis. 1953, Cleveland Browns quarterback Otto Graham sets a club record of 4 fumbles in a game. I don't think anybody wants to break that one. 1955, Branch Rickey steps down as the general manager of the Pirates. 1964. The wrong way run. Vikings Jim Marshall runs 66 yards in the wrong direction for a safety.
He could not be stopped even by his own team.
1968, the longest Olympic field hockey game took place. The Netherlands beat Spain 1-0 in 2 hours and 25 minutes, a game that included 6 overtimes. That's a lot of running. It's a lot of running.
Goodness.
1978, Padres' Gaylord Perry is the first to win the Cy Young in both leagues. This one would be in the National League, obviously. 1981, George Steinbrenner scuffles with 2 fans in a hotel elevator. Shocking to me that he and Billy Martin couldn't get along together.
Scuffles. Scuffles with 2 fans.
Joke of a franchise. Gosh.
He was so demonstrative back in those days, back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And 90s and 2000s.
Yeah, when he was a younger man then. So, I mean,
Towards the end there, though, not so much. He was not good health-wise towards the end there. It's kind of sad.
1985. Angels announced they will not offer Rod Carew a new contract. 1987 Baseball World Series. The Minnesota Twins beat the St. Louis Cardinals 4-2 at Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome for a 4-3 series win and the franchise first in Minneapolis. Twins pitcher Frank Viola is your MVP.
God, he was always just so consistently good.
And in 2005, then the longest Baseball World Series game in time, 5 hours, 41 minutes, and tied it in innings with 14, which tied Game 2 of the 1916 World Series and Game 1 of the 2015 World Series. Chicago White Sox beat the Houston Astros 7-5 in Game 3 at Minute Maid Park. It is National Greasy Foods Day.
Sign me up.
Okay. What are we having?
All day, every
Yes.
day. Yeah. Cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburgers.
Yes.
Happy birthday, former Red Raider basketball coach Bob Knight turns 82 today. Katy Perry is 38. Juan Santo is 24. Chad Smith, the drummer for Red Hot Chili Peppers, is 61. Craig Robinson is 51. And Pedro Martinez is also 51. And when you think of great love stories in history.
Okay. Because I was going to think of them this morning.
When you think of great love stories
Right.
in history,
Yep.
you may think of Romeo and Juliet. While that is, in fact, a case of fiction, it comes to mind. You may also think of Mark Antony and Cleopatra. Paris and Helen of Troy come to mind.
Okay.
Louis the
I thought he was
XIV.
going to say Mark Anthony and J-Lo.
No, different guy. Louis XIV of France and Madame Pompadour.
Didn't they get married once?
Yeah, I think so. They've been together.
While
right?
all of these are great romances, none of them are American.
Right.
Well, today
We have one.
in 1764, what would become known as the United States got their very first true love story.
George and Martha Washington.
John Adams and Abigail Adams
Okay.
get married today. It was Abigail Smith at the time, get married today. This devoted couple's prolific correspondence during the married life has been entertaining historians and writers since then. And Chuck, quit mocking the greatest love story in American history. That's this day in sports history.
Were you aware of this prolific letter-producing couple?
I thought the great American love story was Chuck and turtlenecks.
I think I look really good today.
Chuck and handshakes.
My turtleneck. Black turtleneck. Time for the secret word
Jamie
of the
and
day.
Mountain Dew.
Now, that is a good love story, but this was first.
Your chance to win $10,000 right here in Lubbock, Texas, America, from Double T 97.3 in the home zone. Make your house a home. All you have to do is go to doublet973.com and enter in the secret word for 645. And, it's kind of it's a nasty word, but it's one word. The word is, you can think of it as more of cattle than maybe school. Longhorns. Longhorns is your secret word at 645. So Double T 97.3 in the home zone. Encourage you to go to doublet973.com right now. Enter in Longhorns, and you could be qualified to win. You're not going to be qualified unless you get signed up to win. And we'll give it away on November the 18th. There you go. 6:51 this morning on the morning drive. We get this. Didn't know I shared a birthday with Bob Knight. Cool. That's from the Yates Flooring Center chat line.
Neat.
Good for you.
So happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Right. I saw this, and I just what in the world were these guys thinking? A couple of referees after the ball game the other day, apparently, and the NFL is reviewing video that appears to show two referees, in uniform, asking Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Mike Evans for an autograph in the tunnel after Sunday's game against the Carolina Panthers. This is according to an article on ESPN.com. The video was captured by 1340 AM Fox Sports. Shows side judge Jeff Lamberth and line judge Trip Sutter calling Evans' name and each getting autographs from him after Tampa Bay's 21-3 loss. Lamberth is in his 21st season. Sutter is in his 4th. The cavalier approach to this would tell you that they probably have done this before.
Yeah, I'm sure many have. Many have.
Do you take any issue with this?
I don't. I mean,
it's unprofessional, right? For a referee to do it right after the game in the tunnel?
Yeah, I don't know. Out on the field, I would definitely have a major issue with it. Back where people aren't supposed to see, I don't have that big of a issue with it. I think it's fair for you to say it's somewhat unprofessional. Yeah, I think that's fair. Obviously, lines can be crossed there and all that good stuff. Would I feel differently if they had both gone into the shower and then they were,
Sharpie?
And they had both gone in and showered and they come back out in their street clothes and they're walking out to their car. And would I feel differently? Probably that would feel like totally okay.
Hey, my grandson, or hey, my kid, or hey, the neighbor's kid down the street. Now, the NFL and the NFL Referees Association bar officials from approaching players, coaches, and NFL team personnel for autographs, as it can give the appearance of partiality.
Sure.
Okay?
And if that's a rule, then boom, you broke it.
The
The
collective bargaining agreement between the NFL and the NFL Referees Association allows officials to seek autographs, team merchandise, and memorabilia for charity endeavors, but those requests must be made through the league's officiating department and not in person.
Yeah.
So these guys should be suspended for a game.
Probably so. That seems fair. I don't think I mean, it's the most heinous crime ever in the history of the NFL. But at the same time, it's a rule. You got to follow it. And I get the look that it's not a great look.
It's not a good look. No,
it's not a great look. Yeah,
no, because the next time when he's like holding somebody and those two guys are on the field and they don't throw a flag, oh well, hey, they got his autograph, so they owed him one. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, does Mike Evans expect that if he signs an autograph?
Probably not.
I wouldn't guess he does. The bigger question is, why are we asking Mike Evans and not Tom Brady?
Right.
That's the real question.
Right. Maybe they already had Brady's.
Evans is an Aggie.
Your morning dose of coffee and sports. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
Nice to have you with us. The East Flooring Center chat line is open. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. The Benchmark Hotline open as well. Maybe I should pause on the coffee after reading this. Playing against a tempo is like listening to Chuck talk. It goes on and on and on so fast, and you can't get away from it. I don't. That's critique. That's a critique, and it may be a complaint, not a compliment. You think?
I don't know that I would take it as a compliment. I think I'll go that far.
It's a critique, which okay. I'm coachable. I think. I like to think that I'm coachable. I mean, I sometimes fall into my same old traps, but I feel like that I'll listen, try to adapt, try to make changes, try to become better, try to do what I can to help the cause.
Okay.
So I'm coachable. So try to slow down for you. Let's see. Here's Coach Joey McGuire. First of all, having all three of his quarterbacks back: Tyler Shuck, Donovan Smith, and Baron Morton.
I think it allows you to continually be even more aggressive, because whoever's in there, we know they're going to be able to get the job done, and I think they drive each other. I promise you, when we go to practice tomorrow, Tyler Shuck will have a chip on his shoulder, of not being able to play. So he'll bring even more intensity to that room, and that's good. They're going against each other, but in a different way. It's not like an offensive defense, iron sharpens iron, But I think there's a level of preparation and competition in this program that helps guys stay focused, and I definitely think they'll be focused and ready to go.
I do think there is something to be said for don't kind of rest on your laurels, so to speak, right? I think there is something to be said for that in terms of, hey, there's somebody behind you that, is wanting your job. And sometimes the guy that's right behind you, whether it's in practice or in a game, does his job a little bit better to the point where you're like, okay, this guy here, whatever position it is, gives us a better chance to win than this guy here. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of value.
Sure, there's somebody pushing you from behind. Yeah. Yep. That definitely says, man, I got to up my game a little bit.
Here is Coach McGuire on the quarterback competition.
The thing with us, even whenever you name a quarterback, I think there's definitely, when you have a quarterback room like we have, you always want the competition. You never want anybody to get complacent or just set. And not like to where they can't go out and perform. It's tough. I think that when you have somebody that's injured that won the job without any doubt, you definitely have to open it up because, him breaking his collarbone didn't do anything. That wasn't his fault other than it happened, and so I think we open it up, but when we come in Saturday, we're planning on playing all three of them. And then we're planning on whoever gives us the best chance to win that game against Baylor is going to be the guy that starts the game.
All right, first of all, what are you thinking about with regard to injury causes a change at quarterback? Does the guy that gets injured, does he deserve to have the same level of competition when he's healthy, even if it's 6 weeks later?
Let me say this. If you are splitting reps equally between the three this week, that's not putting your best foot forward for this weekend. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Because you're so limited in your practice time. And you're so limited in terms of what you can do, whether it's today and tomorrow, because Friday's a walkthrough and Saturday's game day.
So if you spend so much of your time and effort making sure you give Tyler Shuck every opportunity to win this job back, then you are not doing everything you can to beat Baylor. Okay? Now, he again in there said head and shoulders above. Okay? So now we've heard it from both of them, both from Kitley and from McGuire.
Yeah, because that's really the first time that he said that there was no question about it, basically.
Okay? So if that's the case, and they feel like he's easily going to win this competition, then at a certain point, early in the week, I say early, like Tuesday or Wednesday, you're going to say, okay, Tyler's taking the majority of the reps. We're getting him ready to be the quarterback. Okay? I don't believe they're going to split the reps equally. I believe they're focused on beating Baylor, okay? And I believe they'll be focused on getting a young, inexperienced quarterback ready to face Baylor, okay? The one that has played the best of your three quarterbacks so far this year. I understand, I get it. I just think what they're saying and what they're doing are two different things.
So here's the question that I asked, and I agree with you. Here's the question I asked. I said, so just to be clear, the starting quarterback is undetermined at this time, and this was as of about 12:45 yesterday.
Yeah, we're planning on playing all three, and whoever wins the week, that's who's going to come out there. 2 weeks ago, whenever Barron started, we started. If you came out Tuesday, Donovan was in the first huddle, and then Wednesday he was taking less of those reps, and we felt Barron could give us the best. If you to come out Tuesday, Barron was in the first huddle, and if you to come back out Wednesday, Donovan was taking the majority of the one reps, just because both those guys have been banged up, and then you turn around and get shucked back. And so those three guys will share reps of the ones and twos and, see where we go. The good thing is they're a lot alike. I do think that where the offense has been the last 2 weeks, I think there's going to be more pressure on all of them of how fast they can get the ball out of their hands when we go tempo.
So if they've said, and both of them have said, that Barron Morton gets the ball out of his hands the best, then why is there a question here?
I don't think there is.
I don't either, but I mean, why?
And I don't think they believe there is either.
Is this just a...
I think this is...
cloak and dagger? Is that all this is?
No. I think it's what they promised. They told Tyler Shuck you'd have a chance to win the starting job back. But I agree with the texter here that says, you keep saying he's head and shoulders above the rest, then Tyler Shuck's going to feel like, well, then why am I not the starter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
If he's head and shoulders above the rest, why is he not the starter?
Well, I'm curious about what the rest of how the rest of the team kind of looks at this going, It looks to us like this guy here too been pretty good for us.
Just so confused.
It is confusing.
I believe Coach McGuire and Coach Kitley and that coaching staff are going to do what's best for the team. I believe they know that right now what's best for the team is being all in on Baron Morton.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I think they're saying things that they don't really mean.
7:24 this morning here on the morning drive. We get this. He's really just saying that so that Baylor will have to prepare for all three guys. Morton will be getting all the snaps in practice. We get this. Tyler is starting. End of story.
Is there a...
I don't really think that...
that would be... I would not want to be on the Yates Flooring Center chat line if Tyler Shuck rolls out there as the starter on Saturday. Now, if he kills it in the game, then it would be fun to see the about face of the fan base.
I'm not buying what the coach is selling. That's what one person says here from the Yates Flooring Center chat line.
I just think they're working really hard to be respectful and let all three guys know they have a spot and they're appreciated and we need you to keep working hard and keep fighting and pushing each other. But man, I will be shocked. I mean, I really will. I will be shocked if Barron is not starting on Saturday.
His statement about the quarterbacks makes me think he will put Shuck in just because he was the best before the season started, named starter. Morton and Smith now have more Big 12 experience. Shuck might be sluggish during gameplay now.
Your morning blend of sports.
K-State is coming off a big win over Oklahoma. Of course, the Red Raiders off their 37-34 overtime win over number 22 Texas.
And humor.
Sure to tell them that. You suggested that. And, of course, that got a big laugh.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
All right, what you got?
All right, Chuck, Jeff, and our fine listening audience. Red Raiders at 4-3 after the first 7 games. You got 5 games left on the schedule. I want you to give me your record for the final 5 games. 5-0, 0-5, 4-1, 1-4.
Your record for the final 5. Okay, so that's Baylor at TCU, KU at Iowa State, Oklahoma are the next spot. I think you're. Okay, I was a guy that was 5-7 at the start of the season. All right, Jeff and I both were 5-7 at the start of the season. When they beat Houston, I moved to 6-6. After kind of seeing how they dismantled and dominated West Virginia, and you've talked about how they're the worst pass defense in the Big 12 and blah 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 blah. But I mean, we have not seen a domination of a Big 12 team other than KU or K-State in quite some time. And so I guess the Kool-Aid is starting to get a little colder in my glass. Okay, a little more full, and I like the grape. So I think you're going to beat Baylor. I just, for whatever reason, have this sneaking suspicion that you're going to beat TCU and KU, and then lose at Iowa State and Oklahoma. So I'm going to say 3-2 down the stretch.
Wow. Okay.
That would finish you at 7-5. Okay, and that's flipping my record of 5-7. Jeff,
my wow was just the difference of the wins that you have compared to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about this week. And TCU has shown me something in the last 2 weeks that at the beginning of the year I was like, it's TCU in Fort Worth. That's a home game for Tech.
They have been more vocal, haven't they?
They've shown some things. I think Kansas has peaked.
I agree.
I think Iowa State has peaked.
Okay.
I don't think Oklahoma has.
I think I agree with that.
2-3. Kansas, Iowa State, your 2 wins.
Kansas, Iowa State.
And that seems crazy going into Ames and winning because you don't do that very often either.
They just can't score. Yeah, they can't score. Key there will be not turning the ball over and giving them short fields. And it just feels like if you put up 24 in that game, you're going to be in good shape, So I feel like right now, Kansas at home, Iowa State on the road are the most winnable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's 2 wins, and I think you will get one of the other 3. I think all 3 are winnable. I think all 3 are losable. So home against Baylor, at TCU, and home against Oklahoma. So I have the Red Raiders going 3-2 the rest of the way.
3-2. Mm-hmm. But you don't want to declare which of the 3 of the ones that are maybes.
I'm fearful that it's Oklahoma.
That you'll win.
So you'll win your last 3.
Oh, and lose this week to Baylor,
and lose the next 2.
Lose the next 2.
Yeah.
It's
if you had to pin me down, that's what I would go with.
It's probably fair to say that there is not a result in the next 5 games that would surprise me.
No, that's fair. I guess if there was a blowout one way or the other in any of them.
No, I'm talking like of the wins, losses possibility.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
5-0 wouldn't surprise me for how this team has played at times.
5-0 would surprise me, just that you're going to be that consistent. I mean, I think you can beat all 5 of those teams, but if you week to week just keep boom, 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 to be that consistent with a young quarterback and all that. Oh, okay, maybe it's not with Tyler Shuck. I don't know. I don't think you'll go 5-0, even though I think you could beat all 5 of those teams. I don't think you'll go 0-5, even though you could lose to all those teams.
Mm-hmm. Right,
you're really good.
I could see that swing go either way.
Yeah.
Somebody says
it's not. You're not like, hitting the wacky tobacco if you said 4-1, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you are.
Okay, so I mean, because you've never hit the wacky tobacco, nor have I. So I mean, I've hit the Coors Light pretty hard before, and so I know what kind of boisterous things I say with regard to that. I've never hit the wacky tobacco so hard that I've said things that I would consider like wacky tobacco-ish. Do you follow? In other words, if I hit the wacky tobacco really hard, I don't know really what I would say.
I've said that Ryan Leaf is going to be a better NFL quarterback than Peyton Manning. So,
but you said that sober.
100% sober.
Somebody says, why not Baylor? What's your concern there? Is it their defensive line and their ability to put pressure on the quarterback?
Their offensive line's really good too. Mm-hmm. I mean, can you get after their guy who I think is a good quarterback? Yeah, I think they're solid. I don't think they're as spectacular on the defensive side of the ball as they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just solid. I don't think they're world beaters though. I would not be surprised at all to see Tech win Saturday.
Yeah, I think you're right
I was
about that.
asked yesterday what my level of confidence is, 1 to 10.
I heard you say this.
Okay, where are you guys at?
I think I'm at a 7. I'm buying into the blackout, sold out crowd, honoring Mahomes, which I realize none of that relates to on-field performance.
The color of the crowd's clothes now affects our ability to win the football game.
Blackout, fever pitch, 6:30 kick, Mahomes at halftime.
I've heard it all. I've heard it all.
And then in addition to everything else. So
7 for you. Jeff, where are you at?
5.5.
You were at 4.7 yesterday, right?
Clint was at 7 and Jackson was at 8.
Jackson was at 8.
Speaking of wacky tobacco,
he looks like a guy that's dabbled.
No, I didn't mean it that way. I just meant the 8 thing. I have no knowledge.
Both of your bottom line partners look like they've dabbled a little bit. I mean, Clint.
I don't think that to be true at all.
Clint
with
grew up
either
in
one of
Southwest
them.
Kansas. I mean, they're bored out there. And then Jackson's he's a DFW guy. He looks like a guy that probably had some means in his life that probably got a little bored and wanted to experiment.
Oh gosh!
Why don't you ask him today? That'd be your question of the day for them.
Why don't we just accuse our co-workers of using illegal drugs?
On
air. Let's just do that.
Well,
that'd be fun. That's a good teammate.
Well, when you
especially when we have no knowledge of it.
when you put it like that. Okay. When you put it like that. When you put it
What
like
were
that.
we talking about? Yes, I'm at a 4.7.
You're at a 4.7.
I'm definitely nervous about this game. Definitely think it's winnable.
Mm-hmm.
Would not be surprised at all to see the Red Raiders come away with a win, but right now I'm leaning towards a close loss.
Texan, and I agree with this. The West Virginia game made me feel better about Baylor. Somebody else is at a 7.5. Somebody else is Chuck, comma, you, and then all caps R, A-R-E, wacky. Okay.
I would agree with that.
I don't know that the West Virginia game. I don't know that the West Virginia game made me feel any better about Baylor. The Oklahoma State game did. Absolutely, that one did.
Okay.
But
It definitely didn't hurt. The West Virginia win didn't hurt.
no, but it's
And you also know that West Virginia beat Baylor, but again, home game for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, was it a blackout there, Chuck? That's probably why they won.
Probably.
Probably what it was.
Probably.
Yeah, I just
Probably why
think Baylor was in control of that game for about 3.5 quarters, and then they let it slip away.
Here's what Tim DeRuyter said about Baylor. He said it's a veteran group. They're Baylor line. He said they're a difficult offense to prepare for because you know what's going to happen. You know their game, and they're still able to do it. Have a couple of shifty backs and then a big back that they can go up the middle. He said Shapen, the quarterback, is athletic. They don't use him as a runner. He sits back in the pocket, plays really, really well. And their tight end leads them in reception. So it's kind of one of those deals like, you know what's coming at you, and you still can't stop it. So they're going to have to be really disciplined on defense. 740, boom, boom, boom is next.
You're tuned in to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, recapping the night that was in the world of sports.
That's not to say that they don't respect the run game that you have, but you're talking about one quarterback leading the conference in passing so far this year. And remember, he didn't start the first game.
All right.
Still played a lot, though.
And also bringing some humor to your day.
I just don't want to disappoint you. As much as I disappoint you, I don't want to disappoint you in some things that you expect from me.
Hear the show live weekday mornings at 6 on Double T 97.3 or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
Thanks for being with us with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Hines. An hour from now, it's the end of the bench with Choice Woodman and Jeff Haxton. You'll hear the bottom line today at high noon, and then Tech Talk this afternoon here on Double T 97.3 with Aaron Dickens and Mike Gustafson. So look forward to that. Hey, I kind of had this random quick kind of question for you in my head, and just wanted to see if you had one. Because they had the basketball event last night, and it was a nice crowd. It wasn't probably what they wanted, probably more. You always want more. It's hard on a Monday night, and you start at 8 o'clock, and then you have the wind and the rain and the cold and dreariness. But I thought there was a nice crowd there, and they, the women played against themselves for about 10 minutes, and then the men did, and they had a 3-point shooting contest and a dunk contest. None of the girls dunked. They could get up there, but they couldn't dunk. So, I was sitting with Fink, and
I thought you said one of the girls could dunk.
Yeah, but they didn't. They didn't last night. Yeah, they didn't last night.
Man, that would have been the time.
I know, they just couldn't get up high enough. It's just kind of one of those deals. Anyway,
They need more uppers, is what you're saying.
Huh?
They need more uppers. They had a lot of downers, no uppers.
Lower the rim a couple inches, and they got it. I mean, it's close. I mean, Kyla Freelon, the freshman, and then JoJo Worry, the junior college transfer, both were going for the women. The guys put on some pretty good dunks. Anyway, my question is, do you have just a basic expectation this year for either team? And if you need me to go first, I can go first.
I figure the women will, like you said, it's a chance for them to make the women's NIT. I mean, the non-conference schedule is
set up,
is pretty easy. I mean, if you should go, you should sweep, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if you. My guess is you'll probably lose a couple, but I mean you'll. Yes, you should win the majority of your non-conference games, if not all of them.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess I figure you're probably, I don't know, middle of the pack-ish in the Big 12 conference, maybe a little bit, but maybe 7 in that range.
Yeah, my thought would be they'll win more than they lose, and make a tournament, win more than they lose. But for the men, I
expect them to finish. I mean, I think there's good teams in this conference. I really do. So, I mean, with Kansas and Baylor and Texas and what TCU has, I think those teams all should be really good basketball teams. Mm-hmm. So, if you finished 5th, that wouldn't mean that you were a terrible team. No. But I think you could probably finish higher too. So, I mean, in that area, 3 to 5 in the Big 12 conference standings, and whatever. Well, I don't know what puts you in the NCAA tournament. All depends on the matchups and all that.
Yeah, somebody says men should finish 3 to 5 in the league and get to the second weekend of the tournament. Yeah, and so
I'm with that.
Yeah, and so I guess and maybe this is just me, and maybe not others, but I guess from my standpoint, I feel like that you've evolved your basketball program to the point where you're like, okay, how far can we get in the tournament? I mean, yeah, you'd like to win the conference if you can, but where you finish in this conference, because of how difficult it is, any given night, anybody can beat anybody, blah, blah, blah. Can you protect home court? Can you get some on the road? But to me, it's about how far can you advance in the tournament? And I think that's where you've evolved with this basketball team, where not that you're guaranteed to make the tournament or anything like that, but you kind of feel like, okay, we're getting to a point where that's a given, okay, that's the minimal expectation. And the next step is how far can you get into the tournament? And, as long as you just don't crater out in the Big 12, you're fine to get in the tournament. And then can you build a basketball team that's tournament tough, where you can get to the second weekend, slip your way into the Elite Eight, and then see if you can make some magic happen?
Sure. I mean, it all depends on the matchups. Yeah. Have a good day shooting, have a bad day shooting, all that.
Yeah. Somebody says, so can they dunk or not? It's not like they're 7 foot or not, Chuck.
I mean, if you had 2 girls on your basketball team that could dunk, I mean, how many teams in the country could say that?
Yeah.
You'd be like the only one in the nation.
Yeah. Yeah. They could get they certainly could get their hand above the rim. They just couldn't get it with the ball above the rim where they could slam it home. I mean,
that's kind of the important part.
I know it's close. I mean, it's close. I mean, it's far closer than I've seen anybody else do it. But I mean,
so you're not expecting them to throw one down in a game?
No.
Okay.
Not based on what I saw yesterday.
Okay.
Unless somebody just elevates and they get absolutely free. I mean, there have been the gal from Baylor last year. Her name escapes me. She had a chance to dunk against us, and she just lost the ball in her hands. Mm-hmm. And I think
that's what happens every time I try to dunk.
I think that she could have dunked. So, but I don't know that. Hey, I'll just be happy if they make shots, right? Mm-hmm. Just make shots.
Yeah, layup counts just the same. Right. A 3-pointer actually counts more.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like I told you earlier. Riley McKinney hit 18 in one of the 3-point shooting contests, and then she was like a machine, but she is a very, very good shooter.
Did they have a free throw shooting contest last night? Because I figured they would invite you.
And Fink?
Maybe you and Fink could compete with Level and Hacks.
Well. And
that would have entertained the crowd.
Fink and I would have won.
If I'd have known that was going to happen, I would have come last night.
Fink and I would have won last night. Mm-hmm. But we would have only had to make one.
Because they weren't there?
I didn't see him.
Okay.
I know one wasn't going to be there. The other one I didn't see.
Busy guys.
And I looked around. And saw people that were there that if he'd have been there, that he would have been with them. So I didn't see him. I didn't see either one of them. You
checked him off your list. Well, he was not in attendance.
He was very critical of me earlier in the day for not going to the coaches show on Thursday, and was going to report me to the head coach this coming Thursday because I'm not going to be able to make it either. So maybe I should report him to the other head coach of not being at the basketball event.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you should. So Clint and Jackson yesterday said they both could dunk a bowling ball.
I heard that.
On an 8-foot goal.
I don't believe that. Do you?
I have a question mark.
What size bowling ball?
Well, they're all the same size.
No. The 6-pound ball is significantly smaller than like a 12-pound ball.
No. They're the same size, Jeff.
I'm deferring to Jamie.
Aren't they the same size ball? They're just one's heavier?
He grew up in a bowling
That's what's
alley.
in it?
Yeah.
The
It's
heavier
bigger?
ball is bigger.
Is it? It's larger?
Like the kid ball?
Yeah, you're right. The kids' ones are smaller.
Yeah, those are the
that makes
6-pound
sense.
balls.
Yeah. I don't know. Either one. Either one. It shouldn't make that much of a difference.
I mean, that's
I have
the
doubts.
roof here.
I have doubts.
I mean, not in there, but out in the hallway.
I don't think they can do that.
I told them I didn't want them to try because I'm afraid somebody's going to break a foot.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, here's
That's
the other
right there,
thing.
good point.
Here's the other thing too is that, I mean, you're going to break the floor. You slam down a bowling ball.
Well, you could do it like in somebody's driveway, the dirt or something.
All I know is I don't believe that either one of them. If one were to be able to do it, I would say more Jackson than Clint. I think Clint.
I don't know. Clint's got some height that Jackson
Man,
doesn't have.
The Jayhawks don't stick together, man, at all. I mean, they don't have each other's
Well,
backs
one's from
at all.
Kansas, one's from Missouri is the problem.
Oh, that's what it is.
There's some of that, Southwest Kansas weed that he still kind of got going
At least
on.
he's from Kansas and not Missouri.
It's not where you're born, it's where you are, right?
You've been listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. For more from Lubbock Sports Station, go to doublet973.com.